वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. The next, Krishna says, Sayevayam mayaditye yoga prokta puradanaha bhaktosi me sagasedi ragasyam hedaduttamam. Beautiful sloka. Sayevayam mayaditye yoga prokta puradanaha bhaktosi me sagasedi ragasyam hedaduttamam. He says that very ancient science of the ultimate enlightenment or the entering into eternal bliss is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. This has to be understood very deeply. You cannot tell this truth, ultimate truth, to a person who is not ready. To a person who is not ready. And truth told to a person who is not ready will create danger for himself and will disturb others also. Again and again, people ask me in our meditation programs. In many of our meditation programs, people ask me, Swamiji, please talk about your enlightenment. Talk about your spiritual experience. I never open my mouth. I'll never speak about my personal experience, spiritual experience, unless I know them or unless they are connected to me at least 6 months. I wait. People ask me, why don't you talk about this, Swamiji? Why don't you tell us about your spiritual experience? This is the reason. When you are not ready, if intimate experiences are shared, always we doubt two things. If you have courage, you will straight away question the experience. You will straight away question. You will say, this is just lie. This is a story. What are you talking? This cannot be truth. You will straight away oppose. If you don't have that much of courage, you will just take it, all right, one more story. I heard 1000 stories here. One more story, leave it. Anyhow, after all, it is free. There is nothing else will happen. The spiritual experiences cannot be shared and cannot be opened just for nothing. If it is shared, it should become an inspiration source for you. It should become a force which can transform your life. Then it is worth sharing. By sharing that spiritual experience, if it inspires you to enter into that same space, if it gives you the courage to take the same jump, if you also feel, I think I should experience the same joy, I should experience the same bliss, I should not postpone it. If it becomes an inspiration source for you, then it is worth sharing. Otherwise, it is not worth sharing. There was a great master in South India. He wrote a set of poems on Shiva. He did not even write, he just sang. He just sang a set of poems on Shiva. It was never recorded in writing. close disciples who lived around him, they requested him to publish that book. Publish it as a book or to put it in writing so that it can be useful for the society. He says, no, they are my intimate love letters to Lord. How can I publish this to the public? It is my intimate expression. It is my intimacy. It is my personal relationship. How can I publish it? How can I bring it out to the public? For example, you are seeing somebody for the first time. He straight away starts asking you the personal questions. It will be too rude. It will be too rude. We need to understand, you can't share your personal experience straight away with anybody. It's very difficult. He says, if somebody straight away comes and asks you about your personal life, you can't share it. Only if he becomes intimate, or if you become intimate with him, it will be possible to open up. Only then that conversation can happen. See, for a conversation to happen, you need certain intimacy. If both are filled with their side arguments, never the conversation will happen. If both are filled with some words in their mind, if both are prejudiced, never the conversation can happen. I always tell people, in marriage, first year, man speaks and women listens. Second year onwards, women speaks and man listens. Third year, both of them speak and neighbors listen. The first year, man speaks and women listens. The second year, women speaks and man listens. Third year, both of them speak and neighbors listen. Never the conversation happens. Only arguments goes on. As long as the other person is in the mood of argument, the truth cannot be shared. The Satya cannot be shared. Satya can never be expressed. He says, it is my personal relationship. It is my intimate relationship with God. How can I share that to public? I cannot. Then one disciple asks, who thinks himself as intelligent, he comes out and asks, why? You share with us? When you can share with us, why not with the world? Then he says, by becoming a disciple, you have become part of me. Only a person who has become part of me can share these poems. Only to him I can share these poems. Physically you may be another one body, but mentally you have fallen in tune with me. You are completely ready to receive me. You have become like a womb, ready to receive the divine energy. That is the reason I shared my experience with you. Unless you enter into the deep receptive mood, unless you become a complete, total, simple, innocent being, you cannot receive the ultimate truth. Please be very clear. The ultimate truth is beyond logic. Initially, when we start teaching the truth, always it starts with logic. Always your logic is addressed. Words go logically. But after some time, you have to leave the logic behind. You have to leave the logic behind. You can't talk to the divine. You can't talk to God in logic. In prose, you cannot relate. Only in poetry you can relate with God. That is why all over the world, whenever it comes to prayer, it is only songs, poems. Whether it is Eastern culture or Western culture or any culture, whether Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, or any Christianity, or any religion, when it comes to relating with God, it is always poetry. Because you can't relate with divine logically. You can't relate with divine through logic. Prose is not useful anymore to relate with divine. If you want the divine relationship to happen, you need the love. You need the language of poetry. Here, only a person who understands, only a person who has become part of the master, only he can receive his experiences. That is the reason Master says, I share my songs with you because you have become me. I cannot share this with public. There was another one great saint called Manikyavasaka. Throughout his life he sang about Shiva, but he never wrote, he never recorded the poem. It is only sung. It is just repeated by him, but never he recorded it. Manikyavasaka never wrote his poems. He always used to recite, that's all. Once Shiva himself comes down as an old man and he says, "Oh Manikyavasaka, I heard that you used to sing beautiful songs on Shiva. Why don't you recite them for me? I am your disciple." Manikyavasaka is in ecstasy. So in that ecstasy he starts singing everything. He himself records the whole thing. Shiva himself records, puts the songs in writing, and after recording he puts a signature. Recited by Manikyavasaka, written by Ambalavanan, the Shiva himself, and puts the leaf at the feet of, at the entrance of the temple and disappears. Next day morning the priests see the leaves. Suddenly they realize the signature says, Manikyavasaka recited, I myself recorded this. Till the end, till his death, he never recorded. Then all the disciples go and ask him, "Oh Master, please give us the meaning. Please explain the meaning for all these songs." And he straightaway walks into the temple and says, he is the meaning for the whole song. He shows the Lord and says he is the meaning and walks into the deity and disappears into the God, into the divine. Beautiful symbolic representation. This story is a beautiful symbolic representation. He becomes one with the divine. Till the end, he never recorded. Only somebody else recorded. It is so beautiful. God himself came down and recorded. Unless you become part of the master, it is very difficult to understand his message. That is why Krishna says, Arjuna, the supreme science, the technique of entering into the eternal bliss is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. You are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. It cannot be told to the person who is not ready. And one more thing, when you speak the ultimate truth to the person who is not ready, it leads to many troubles. Not only he doesn't understand, and he starts creating trouble for others. With the right person, even lie will do good to the society. In the wrong hands, even truth will do harm to the society. To whom it is delivered is important than how much it is truth or lie. With the wrong person, Even a great truth like a Advaita, I am God, he may start thinking that I am God and start doing all nonsense. With a wrong person, even a great truth will become harmful thing. And one more thing, a wrong person can never understand the truth told by Krishna. For example, Krishna says, I am God, I am everything, surrender unto me. If a person is not completely devoted, if the person is not in tune with Krishna, if he has not understood Krishna, what he will think? How egoistic fellow he is. How dare he is telling me to surrender to him. Naturally, the person, instead of understanding Krishna, will create more trouble for Krishna. He will create only more trouble for Krishna. Here, the qualification to receive the truth is devotion. Here he says, if you have heard all these things, what I expressed in the other 3 chapters, it's okay because it is expressed logically. Till this point, I am able to bring logic and spirituality both together. Now, the time has come where I have to give the pure truth as truth. Please be very clear. Great things can never be expressed by logic because logic is not so sharp. Logic is not so sharp to express the ultimate truth. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, why don't you prove God logically? I told him, if God can be proved logically, then logic will become God. Logic will be greater than God. God is great because he cannot be proved by logic. He is beyond logic. He is beyond your logic. Here, Krishna is going to speak something which is beyond logic, where you need to leave your logic behind, where you need to be completely open, where you need to sit with a total passive mood, where your being needs to be open to receive it. One thing, anything told logically, either you will understand or you will not understand. That's all. There is no danger. When it comes to the deeper level teachings, either you understand or you will misunderstand. The teachings which Krishna is going to deliver now, they are much more deeper, they are much more subtler than the teachings which is delivered in last 2-3 chapters. That is why he says, now I am telling you these secrets just because you are my devotee and friend. Just because you are my near and dear one. You are my own. That is the reason. Bhaktosi. He says, you are my devotee. Me sagachedi. And you are my friend. Saka, friend. That is the reason I am expressing this truth to you. A person who is not completely in tune with Krishna, the person who is not ready to trust the Master, he cannot receive the message. He cannot understand it. And not only he will not understand, he will misunderstand. Misunderstanding always leads to complications. Understand, now Krishna is entering into the deeper level truths where you need to relax little from your logic, where you need to come down from your head to the heart, where you need to sit with your whole being and listen the truth. And if these truths are heard without the complete openness, not only you you will not understand, you will misunderstand. Misunderstanding these truths can lead to many complications. So Krishna gives a warning. Here, Krishna gives warning. Ragasyam hedatuttamam. I am telling you the secrets, the mysterious science of realizing the ultimate, O my dear friend and devotee Arjuna.